Well, maybe. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. We are your Tuesday night entertainment, and thank you for being here. We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. We have Alan Tsao with Tsao Baltimore in the house this evening. If you have a question for Alan, he's going to be with us for about an hour. So throw your question in the chat, and we will make sure we ask it. Let's do a quick wrist check and see what's on everybody's wrist. Let's start with Blake. What's on the wrist tonight, Blake?
Oh man, on the spot. I'm wearing the Mega Solar from Young Hans, which has just kind of been my default watch. It's like a watch that I wear when I don't want to wear a watch because it's so light.
Very good.
So 31 grams, baby.
That's good. We've got our boy Mitch, our director of Bagel Security. What is on the wrist?
Tonight it's the Citizen Zenshin Super Titanium Echo Drive. How many modifying adjectives are there?
The salmon dial.
With the salmon dial.
Beautiful. Love it.
It's nice.
We'll start next with our Lady Jen. What is on the wrist this evening? The Speedmaster homage. Very nice.
Yep. And the stack.
There you go. Beautiful. Well, on my wrist,
guess.
It is a Tsao Baltimore.
Cool.
That was good. So that I didn't put the right date on, of course.
It's close enough.
It was sold to me in person by this man when we first met in 2022 at the what was then called it's now called Minutes and Hours. Then it was called Austin Micro Lux, and I had no idea who you were. And I'm going, can you adjust my bracelet? And you're like, sure. And you had to go to another booth and get tools, and you're trying to figure out how to adjust it, and got it all done, and it's still adjusted right. So you did it.
All right.
What's on your wrist tonight, sir?
I am wearing our new Old Bay timepiece.
Dude, yeah, that
very
looks sick.
nice. Like it.
Looks awesome. Yeah, really fun piece.
Yeah, like it a lot. Let's get everybody back on here and see who is in with us so far. We've got Mr. Roberts joining us. I've got Wristful Ignorance. We appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. We've got Oscar in the house, and we've got Caliber YQG joining us, and Paul Sanchez, my friend up from Dallas, is in the house as well.
What's up, Paul?
Yeah. So, and and we got AB. And we've got our friend Brian the Pipe in down from Florida. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. So let me ask you, and I'll put you up here, and we'll get you to where people can actually see you, because they want to see you, not us. Let me start from the beginning. How did you get into this business? What made you decide that you wanted to devote your life to watches?
So I got into it from a lot, similar to like a lot of people, obsessed with watches. I love all things about watches. Love the aspect of, especially an automatic movement. Just love it. Knowing that every single component has a role in telling time. It's always really cool to know, especially when it's an exhibition case back too. You really see the beauty of it all. I got my first watch when I was 10 years old. Ever since then, I have always had a watch on my wrist. And life went on after college, got the day job, got some funds. So, obviously, was the responsible type, use those funds to buy more watches. And then and
Yeah,
then
you're about as responsible as the rest of us.
You don't say so, huh? You don't say so.
And then next thing you know, life went on, got married, and eventually I had like a 35 watches in my collection at that time. And then my wife was like, Alan, you gotta stop buying so many watches. You might as well just start your own watch company. So started my own watch company.
So you
Background
said,
and yeah, I was like, gotta follow my wife's direction.
Yeah.
Happy life, happy wife.
How much
Um,
sarcasm was in that statement?
I mean, she was definitely joking. Definitely, but
now
you know,
every time you bring it up, you can go, well, honey, it was your idea.
I know. Instead
Yeah.
of having watches around the house, now we have watch parts. So
Yeah.
Oh.
but now that we have two little ones now, so it's definitely a journey, definitely a challenge, but it's just pretty awesome. But having the opportunity to start something from scratch, build my own brand, go from zero to where we are today, it's just something incredible. One thing led to another, started creating more designs, locally inspired, and then started having some really unique collaborations and partnerships, and really help grow our company, which is pretty awesome.
Well, and you talk about your inspiration being Baltimore and things in Baltimore.
Mhm.
That was really the reason that I ended up buying this watch from you, is the limited edition Constellation with the face and bezel that is color matched to the boat.
USS Constellation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that story? Because I thought it was fascinating back in 2022 when you first told me how you went out and actually color matched the hull.
Yeah. So the Constellation Chrono Diver that you have on is named after the USS Constellation ship. It was a World War I ship. Really cool. It's a museum piece right in the Baltimore Inner Harbor now. The bottom part of the ship is this really cool bluish, patinaed colorway. And we color match that actual like blue color. We call it the Mystic Blue, which is really unique. And it was just fun. And all the other colorways, it was a panda and a reverse panda. Because the ship itself also has black and white into it too. And the back of the watch has one of the constellation stars that's in the ship too, that we had engraved on the case back, which is really cool.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I've got the bracelet on it, so I'm not sure how well you're going to see this, but let's see what we can do here. Oh, I'll make myself big. Hang on just a second.
Yeah, you're tiny there.
Let's see.
Oh yeah.
You see it a little
Very
bit.
cool.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome looking. It really, really is.
Yeah, so like everything plays a story. Yours, the USS Constellation. We had the Torch Diver, named after the USS Torch submarine, which happens to be the last submarine to sink an enemy warship, which is really cool. That's also a museum piece in the Baltimore Inner Harbor. We have a World War II bomber plane that was made in Maryland by Glenn L. Martin, which is now Martin State Airport. And it was a lightweight bomber, so we made our pilot watches more of a titanium material, lightweight. So it was really cool, just a really unique story behind it all. And then, of course, we have Old Bay, National Bohemian, the beer company, one of the first breweries in Baltimore. We're the proud watch company of the Baltimore Orioles. We just signed some really cool projects moving forward. We could talk about it later, but we've had some really cool, everything connected to Maryland, which is awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the fundraiser you're doing for the Key Bridge here in a minute as well. Let me get to somebody else and see if they have any questions. Then we'll come back to the new Key watch, which is on pre-order. If you guys are interested in it, we'll bring up the website and show it to you as well. But who else has questions on the panel?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I've heard, at least one watch creator say was after they made their first watch, they decided they would never do another one. Um, at after your first one, did you have a crisis of conscience about continuing? And if you did, how did you get through that?
So I wouldn't say in terms of like once I created my first one, the first one was what started it all. Was great. I love it. But it had its negative pitfalls because I didn't know what I was doing. Anyone that starts a watch brand, we don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
anything. For one, starting a business. Two, a watch brand. Three, just the operations of it all, right? So, like with my first watch when I designed, we lost, even though we launched it on Kickstarter and did really well. We were still, I think, minus $15,000. So we lost money in our first design, but that's just but we got a lot of exposure and we were able to, hone into a unique market and really create something special, at least what I thought was special. And if I can do that again, but somehow make a profit or at least break even,
sure.
that would be the next goal. So, I mean, designing the first one was fun, designing the second was strategic, and
Yeah,
designing the third one is profitable, right? It's just like
yeah,
it's kind of figuring things out along the way. Like any business, it's trial and error. We try it out, launch it, it does well in the public side, but in the operation side, it's not too well. So how do we build from there? We grow internally, help create a more solid foundation for our operation side while doing the same thing what we did on the consumer end and just keep on building and building and building. So it's just like it's just trial and error and figuring things out.
yeah,
So like with me, I love watches. I love
yeah.
watches. I am a watch person. And I would go window shopping to find a new watch, just look at it, check it out, right? So like even though I make one design, I'm already figuring out what I want to do next, right?
Sure.
It's like the moment you buy that Grail watch, now you have a new Grail watch that you
Oh,
want to
I
get,
know,
right?
right?
And a new one, and a new one, a new one. And it's like that constant flow of like, I want to do something else, something else, something else. So that's kind of my mindset is when I design a watch is like, cool, designed it, have it on my wrist now. What's next? Like
Yeah.
now I got this empty hole that's like I need to fill that with some new unique design, and that's
Yep.
kind of what draws my motivation.
So you're as bad as the rest of us, except you just design them.
Yeah, yeah,
You
100%.
might,
For
you
us,
might.
it's like we go shopping again and again and
Yeah,
again. You just
Sound,
design them.
well,
Go ahead, Blake.
yeah,
it just sounds like a much a larger, more difficult process than us just going around on the internet just trying to find something to buy. He has to
yeah,
start talking to suppliers and figure out all the back end stuff.
yeah, just
Um,
making shit happen.
I'm curious about your first Kickstarter and like what you learned from launching your product on Kickstarter, like the failures then and how you kind of brought them into, not happening again.
Yeah, so price was probably the largest issue. We priced our watches really, really low at the time. Um, Granted, it got a lot of customers, but again, it was really, really low. So, when I first, launched it, I was thinking operationally, maybe just, the cost of shipping. Maybe we'll put a little miscellaneous things here and there. Maybe make like $5 or $10 out of it. What I didn't take into account too was the cost of shipping was a lot more expensive than if you wanted a signature, insurance, and then you wanted to if there was a repair or what happens, like yes, the Kickstarter does well, but what if someone wants to cancel or get a refund? So that's just losing money there, and just like operationally, it's like cool. Now we have this watch. Now we need the whole logistics end of everything. And like the shipping boxes, we get our boxes from Uline. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but
Yeah.
get that stuff from there. We get just, and then we want the warranty cards and all the little miscellaneous things on the side that just keep on adding up. I just didn't realize it. So, the first Kickstarter was great. It's like, oh, huge success, $115,000 and during our Kickstarter, 30 days was awesome, awesome, awesome. But then the books were just bleeding money just because we just didn't account to a lot of that. So that was one thing that we learned moving forward to our second Kickstarter. Another thing is figuring out how we can hone in more people to get interested. Like our first one, I kind of had to think outside the box because, Kickstarter at that time was really, really popular, or was getting to that popularity. And we needed to figure out a way to differentiate, or how do we capture an audience with very limited resources? Like I put $10,000 in just, the prototypes, and figure out like, getting a new camera and everything, just going the whole side of it. So like, how can I capture an audience with very limited funds? So I put $500 down and found this new system that gamified lead generation. So what that means was, someone would sign up, they would get X amount of points. If they refer their friends, they'll get X amount of points, while their friend will get X amount of points. If they like, share, comment, whatever, do anything, referring to our side, basically they're doing all the legwork of advertising. And with that $500, we were able to get around 2,000 emails of just people interested in our watches. So it really helped, get things moving. So going into the second project, we utilized the same campaign. We had a higher price tag, while also adding more value to it, and just more design aspects into it, a bit more stronger story behind it. And then the second Kickstarter generated around $200,000. So that was great. And then after that, that was our last Kickstarter campaign. So moving forward, we just did everything internally directly on our website, so we don't have to pay the Kickstarter fees, but utilize the same campaign and creating these unique stories with each watch, and then making sure everything is relevant, and making sure the bottom line is we have great customer service, and I'm always available. So if someone has any questions, they could always reach out to me. So
we do have a question from our friend Skylar Santana, wanting to know if you're going to be at the Philly Watch Fair again this year.
Unfortunately, I will not. Where am I going? I have a trip somewhere. I think I have a wedding. I have a wedding to go to. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I have a wedding to go, so I would not be at the Philly Watch show this year.
Oscar wants to know if you design all of the watches yourself.
I do. I do all the designs myself. My process of designing something is, I'll start from scratch, from figuring out which movement to use, what price point I'm thinking this collection should be at, and then start working on the dial, and then the case structure, and then once I finish a design, 2 weeks go by, and if I go back to it and I love it, and I get those little tingles, or like, oh, I really need this, then I'll keep on modifying to make it better. If I don't have that feeling, I'll scrap everything and start from one. So it's a process, but it's a fun, creative process, but it can get really time consuming.
Quick question from our friend Mr. Roberts. Alan, I'm looking at your website now, admittedly for the first time. I love the bronze green dial immediately. Looks beautiful. Of your current collection of products right now, which would you recommend?
So I always love the newest watch. I mean, who would have guessed, right? But I always love the newest, because every new design is basically an improvement or an evolution of the previous. So we're always updating, either it's the process, or it's the lines, or the type of finishing. There's always a slight improvement from one to the newest watch. So I always go with the newest one. Like the Torch Divers. Before this Old Bay piece, it was the Torch Diver Pros, and I still wear it. My go-to happens to be the bronze green. Bronze and green is just a perfect match, because it was, it's like white and rice, right? It's perfect, right? It works, and that's usually my go-to. But right now it's the Old Bay, just because it's just so cool. So this one,
That was amazing.
the dial is awesome, and it looks a lot better in person. I know it's really tough to really capture
And
this.
it
I'll
goes
pull
well
it
with
up.
the tats.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah. And
It
then
works
like
with the tats.
the back of this watch, it's so cool. Just like
Oh, look at that. Quick
Look at-
release. Smart man. Smart
thank you.
man.
And
I
it comes
think-
with a and it comes with like
I
an
think
Old
all
Bay
of his
case.
watches have quick release because this
They
one
do.
does too.
They do.
All
they
watches
do.
should. If not,
They
it should
should.
be sent to the Hague
should
for
be.
war crimes.
Yeah, it should be law. But yeah, I mean, my favorite collection is always the newest one. Like we have some really cool ones coming out. It's always the newest one.
You got to make it so we can blow up these pictures, bro.
I know.
Ooh, I like that.
There's the dial.
Yes, Old Bay seasoning. Gotta
Oh
love
yeah,
it.
we put that shit on everything.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's right.
Well, explain the process for this dial, man. I'm curious.
So, yeah, we did a lot of testing just to figure out the best way. We even put actual Old Bay in a test dial, and it looked cool for like 2 days, and after that, it became this really ugly tan brown color. I was like, oh, that just doesn't work well. So what we had to do is, it was a process of going back and forth, just a mixture of powders. So originally it was just a mixture of powders, different colors, and then so we could get the same texture as Old Bay. And then we put it on dial. It looked great, but it just didn't look like, Old Bay at the same time. It was a little too shiny, a little too light. So keep on going back and forth. Eventually we did the mix of powders, but we had to separate. So we had a section of powder that was actually larger than others. So then we can, at the end of the day, we would mix it all together, because with Old Bay, there's a whole bunch of different variations of sizes of the different spices and herbs into it. So we had to really, really go back and forth to make this something really cool and special.
Thank you for your generous application of Superluminova.
Yeah.
No, I will say this, that my Tsao Baltimore has the best loom of any watch I own.
Yeah,
I'll try to show that to you all before the end of the show, because it's awesome.
I borrowed the Bolt World Timer from him for a while, and man, that thing was freaking cool.
Yeah, it's a torch.
The Old Bay looks enough like Old Bay that someone they're having a
lick it.
Emergency. They break the
They might.
stuff.
Oh, believe me, one of the first ideas of an Old Bay was the possibility of making the crown open so that we could put spice in there. but that became really difficult, and we were just way too much into it that we're like, okay, we can't figure that out.
You could load up your own spices in there, and then when you go to like a restaurant, just sprinkle out your dial.
Like the mini sriracha bottle.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I swear, you get to the point where, hey, hon, would you pass the watch?
Yes, I do that.
Jen, don't give him.
That would have been awesome.
Don't give him any sriracha ideas, okay?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It's a watch. It's a spice dispenser.
It's two in one. Paul Sanchez has a question, and then we're going to get to Mitch and let him go for it for a little bit. Paul wants to know if you're working on a mechanical chronograph.
We are. Probably next year, sometime next year. Not entirely sure when. So it's going to be a yacht racing piece, just because we're Annapolis, the Navy, Baltimore Inner Harbor. It just makes sense. There's Baltimore Yacht Club, Annapolis Yacht Club. So we're actually going to do some type of collaboration with both yacht clubs. And we're going to do a chronograph variation. We might do two versions, very similar. One would be a mecha quartz or a quartz operated one. The other one would be the mechanical option. So yes, we are working on it.
Very cool. Mr. Mitch.
Yo,
let's
that question actually ties in with what I was going to ask, which is, the micro brand industry, so to speak, is really, for obvious reasons, been focused on design, sort of the driving force. And so the question is, in the future, how much do you think there'll be a move by yourself or other folks into doing more with designing movements and complications?
Sure. I mean that's kind of, it's up and down, because then there's a big question of, sure, we can design our own movement and own complication, but how much of it will have issues with the quality behind it because of the because of the cost behind it all. You know, we have a Maryland movement that we call the MD1, but the foundation of it, or the base, is the ETA 2024. So it's not technically in-house, it's not a custom, it's just, you know, it's a ETA movement, just a Maryland base, because we redecorated, new rotor, black everything out, new screws, new oils, regulation, and everything. So yeah, there are brands that are moving towards that type of customization. There are some very innovative brands out there that are actually making their own movements at the same time. You know, Christopher Ward is doing their own thing, which is pretty wild. Granted, they have a large backing, large foundation to do that. Fortunately, like us smaller brands, we don't necessarily have the resources to do that to that scale, but we can possibly do some of that. But the only option we have is really to do it in-house, and not many of the micro brands have watchmakers that can do that at the same time. Most of us watch brands are designers by trade, and have it just, you know, have a watchmaker. We have a local watchmaker. We're actually hiring. So we have a head watchmaker, and we're actually hiring 4 additional watchmakers under our single roof in Baltimore. So that's definitely a possibility down the road.
Well, you should talk to Jen. She's my personal watchmaker.
Would you like to come to Baltimore?
I'm going to Dallas. Sorry.
Dallas. That's fine. Dallas is nice.
Rolex is okay. It'll be all right.
So
someday you may hear about them.
Yeah.
Our friend Ali Reza, you have to have stones and a strong constitution to keep in the market as a micro. It's, I mean, obviously we've talked about it's tough out there sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah, it's very tough. I mean, but that's the thing. I don't see one micro and another micro as competition, right? I believe that there are enough risks out there in the world that if one brand can really make it and really showcase and really capture an audience, I think the entire industry of micro brands also, you know, grow in that aspect, right? Because, you know, think about Swatch and the Moon Swatch, right? They captured an audience that probably just didn't even like watches, but wanted to follow the trend. And now that they have this watch and realize that it's just a toy, they're kind of going into more unique pieces and finding a piece that is more relevant to them. You know, they can get a Timex, sure they can get a Citizen, Seiko, and so forth. They're great pieces, but they're also individuals that love a piece that they can really tell a story with, or really share the story with others, a nice conversation piece. And there are plenty of micros out there, depending on what style, design, size, and colorway. There's probably a micro brand that fits that exact criteria. So the more micro brands out there, I think it just strengthens the entire micro brand industry. But in order for a micro brand to last and differentiate themselves, we have to all focus on specific niches that we like. My niche is, you know, Maryland, Baltimore. Everything has a story around Maryland. Fortunately, Maryland has a very, very strong and a lot of history, either military or just unique brands and just really cool stories around Maryland. So that's my niche, and really creating a timepiece revolving around that. And then, yeah, there's Brew, with, you know, Coffee and Jonathan, and there's Jack Mason, the whole Texas notice in California, the tool utility pieces. There's all of us that have our specific niches that we're not competing against each other. We're just trying to get more people to love watches. The more people that we can get to love watches, the more people will just, you know, like a lot of us, we don't just have one watch, right? None of us have just one watch. We have 30, 40 watches here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. This is news, breaking, everyone. We have more than one watch. So there are plenty of risks, plenty of boxes to fill those, you know, more watches in. So, you know, the more micro brands, it's not a competition. We're all just working to find the end goal and to fulfill our objective of just having watches on people's wrists.
Question from no, go ahead, Jen.
One thing I think I appreciate about the micro brands is that it seems like there's been an ego death where people are willing to collaborate and even are looking for that. They're not, you know, they're not opposed to it. Whereas, you know, you get to the level of, you know, Patek and Rolex and those guys, they're not going to collaborate with anybody else.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think it's a shame because I think you get some really, really cool pieces.
Absolutely.
Work together at that level.
Absolutely. 100. I mean, there are more and more collaborations happening nowadays. I mean, Notice and Raven, Fair and Studio, was it?
Oh, yeah.
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 There's a few things out there. So it's really cool. Just again, we're all working together to get the same end goal, right? And it's really cool. And then, well, I mean, Rolex did collaborations. They did unique pieces. Dominoes, right? There was
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, Rolex started from what we are all micro brands are doing, and then think where they are, and maybe our goal is to basically all the micro brands be where they are, right? So it's they did it too. Then why can't we?
Yeah.
So a question from John D. Microbrands suffer from a lack of history and are reliant on design aesthetics for their appeal. Have you considered a strategy to cope with that challenge?
So the challenge to get away from, yes, people with watches, they like to, you know, they gravitate to brands with history, with you know, they were here 20, 30, 50, hundreds of years, right? So how does a micro brand compete against that, or how do we change? I mean, it's really just the relevance of consumer, understanding the modern consumer and why they buy things, you know, and figuring out why are they connecting to. I mean, there's new businesses launching every single year, not just watches, new apparel companies, you know, leisure athletic stuff, new whatever, right? There's always something, and somehow those are pushing millions and millions of products. And how are they able to go against, you know, Hanes, right? That has been here for a while.
Yeah.
They were able to create this unique niche and to differentiate themselves to follow the relevance of their consumer base. So either it's colorways and figuring out the specific color that people are gravitating to, like us in Baltimore, purple and orange, right? And we just love purple and orange. We got the we got the Ravens, we got the Orioles.
Go Steelers.
That sucks. Sorry, allergies.
I had to.
But you just gravitate to it. Obviously, I'm not gonna sell a Ravens watch in Pittsburgh, but I just know my audience, right? And then figuring that out and finding something that really appeals. For one, you know, like our Taurus diver, our USS Constellation is all relevant to people local in Maryland, all relevant to people that love the military history of things, right? So it just draws that attention. People aren't necessarily gravitating to companies that have been here for hundreds of years. They're gravitating to companies that are actually listening to their customers. And that's what's differentiating new brands from the older ones, because the older ones feel like, yes, we have a product, the product would sell itself. Whereas new brands, we're pushing a product because we know that this is relevant to you. And because we've heard from you. You know, you said you wanted these colors, you said you want these sizes and types of styles. So we created this watch brand for you. We're
I
not
think
creating a trend. We're helping, right?
I think
So,
something
Yeah.
that we talked about too last time I talked to you, we were talking about how the customers are the history and the heritage. And yeah, you know, kind of like going to the farmer's market and picking up like produce, like, you know, it's grown locally, you know, the person that
Mhm.
grows it, that sells it. And like,
yeah,
you know, you don't see a lot of that in the bigger boys, right? You don't have like, you don't see the whole supply chain from like start to finish, you know,
Mhm.
and know that you're impacting, you know, a local business, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, I know now you're a dad, of course. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think we talked at a pretty good length about that too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just, it's just figuring it all out, and then it's we have that connection. People can talk to the brand owners. People have a direct connection to asking a question directly to the owner of a brand, which is really awesome, you know. And knowing that, I'm just a phone call away, feel free to text me. Whenever we go out to events, I give out my business card. That business card is my exact cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. And like I am open to just having a conversation, just talking about watches. And with the bigger brands, you just don't have that option. You can talk to a rep, sure, but it's not really the same.
And we are joined by Trap Vision 3D, who is either the biggest liar I've ever met, or he got robbed. I don't know which. Yeah, I have one watch that I wear one watch at a time, maybe.
Mhm.
I mean, I only have
So,
one watch on, so I guess
yeah,
that's
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So there you go.
But this sort of goes back to a conversation that we've had before about the psychology of the watch collector versus the psychology of the normal consumer when it comes to watches.
hmm
I think that, since I'm a watch collector, it can sometimes be difficult to get out of that mindset. So when I start thinking that, well, yeah, I have micro brands, but I don't really feel compelled to buy 6 notices,
hmm
you know, because it doesn't fit my conception of what I'm looking for in my watch collection. But for someone who's not as crazy as me or us, then that psychology is completely different.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very fun when you're dealing with two very different types of customers. Yeah, there are the watch enthusiasts, and then you're talking to the average consumer,
Yeah.
and you have to you say the same story, but in a very unique direction, and unique way of saying things. For one, you could talk about the movement, right? And then you could say quartz, automatic, and then you go through your whole spiel, and at the end, you're like, what's quartz and what's automatic? So it's very interesting when you're talking to the average consumer, which is great because they're kind of getting into that world, and you kind of like you love seeing that little twinkle in their eyes, like, wow, this is a whole new world. And it's awesome. And then you go to the watch enthusiasts, that they know, like, hey, what's it being regulated to? What type of movement is it? Is it ETA, SLETA, so forth? And and so it's just a really unique conversation when dealing with very different consumers.
Something I noticed too, and this is just from my experience, and I don't think I've ever told you this, but you know, you bring up a good point, Mitch, that a lot of independent collectors that they just don't feel the need to or compelling need to buy this like multiple different iterations from the same brand.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I could speak for Alan here, sorry. But
Go for it.
one of my friends has multiple Tsao Baltimores and wants multiple Tsao Baltimores more, or Baltimore Watch Company watches, which we haven't even talked about. So yeah, I think for some reason, I don't know if it's just your identity or your brand or maybe your mission or whatever it is, but I'm sure he's not the only one that has multiple different watches.
Mhm.
Like he's got the World Timer, and then he's got the Natty Bow, and then now he's looking for the Francis Key, and like,
Keep it going.
Yeah, yeah. I'm talking about Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
But yeah. I have you had any challenges with that, or do you just have your fans, right? That you just
Yeah. I mean, every single brand has their specific loyal following. It's really cool, like really talking to the customers that have multiple watches. When I first started the company for like a solid 4 or 5 years, customer in the UK, I believe they have about 10 to 12 of our pieces.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild, from different colors. They could be the same collection, just different colors. So really wild just knowing that. And it's just really cool knowing that people, love the collection and love collecting our specific timepieces. Because it's difficult to just find one customer, and to find that one customer that just buying multiple pieces is just amazing. It's just an amazing feeling. Yeah, I love those customers, because I like to say, so I teach entrepreneurship at a local university in Baltimore as well. And one of the main cases was uh, finding your minimum, your smallest viable market. But I like to say smallest viable loyal market, because you're just finding 10 people, the 10 consumers that are willing to do anything and everything to help your brand. Either it's referring or defending on comments or whatever. They are your loyal foundation. So it's figuring out and finding those 10 people and growing those 10 people to another 10 people, another 10 people, another 10 people. And every brand has those types of people, those core foundations of individuals that just love the brand and love not just the brand, just love the owners, love the story, and love the relevance of what we're trying to create. So it's just really cool.
I want to get to this before we run out of time with you, because Alan will be with us for about another 15, 17 minutes. And then he's got things to do, like put two little ones to bed. So we will, yeah. So we're going to let him go. The last half hour of the show, we're going to have some unboxings. So get those upvotes in for unboxings this evening. But I want to talk to you about the fundraising project you have with the Key Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, most of us know what happened. Francis Scott Key Bridge, hit by a barge. The bridge went down. It's a very tragic occurrence, but you're trying to make something good out of this tragic occurrence.
Absolutely.
Tell me about this project and what the funds will benefit, and the fact that part of the Key Bridge is in this watch.
Yeah. So this is a very, very, very special project that we are working on. We have 200 pounds of steel from the Francis Scott Key Bridge. So one of our customers reached out and told us that he was just contracted to help with the demo before they put the explosives down. And he asked if I wanted some steel, because he asked his supervisor and it was good to go. So I was like, absolutely. So he gave me 200 pounds of steel from the bridge. And from the start, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing with this steel. I just need to figure it out. And so I started designing. This watch was the most difficult watch to design to date, only because this is more than just a watch. This is more than just a design that I wanted, or this is more than just a watch that I wanted to create my own variation of it. This is a watch that is going to be in the history books in Baltimore, in Maryland. This is a piece of Baltimore on your wrist, and there's just something so special. So it took probably about like 8 to 10 iterations of designing and redesigning, and starting from scratch and designing and going back and forth. It took me a solid 5 months to finish this design, and it was just so time consuming, but it's well worth it, just because about 85% of the entire watch is actually being manufactured in Maryland. So the CNCing of the case using 316L steel is all CNC machined. The dial itself is from the Key Bridge steel. So what we're doing with the hour markings, we're actually milling the hour markings. So it's one solid piece of steel, which is really
Oh,
cool.
wow.
So they're not applied, printed, or painted or anything. They're actually a piece of it, and it's pretty incredible. The finishing process, the engraving, it's all being done in Maryland. So very unique piece, and then we're only making 500 of those, and 100% of the profits are going to be donated to the families of the victims. So at the end of the day, we're actually be donating around $200,000.
Beautiful.
Crazy.
And may I say, I love your designs. I love the one that I own. I really like the Taurus Diver. I really like the Bolt Pilot. I think this is the best design you've done.
I agree. I agree.
I think it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
It
Thank you,
really,
thank you.
really does.
So
And
from
no,
sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So the renders on the site look a little bit different than the final variation. The final variation, I don't know if you want to go to one of the images of the actual case itself. So yeah, so the case itself is going to still have the machining marks on the edges, because originally the idea was to have polished edges, but we had this unique ladder effect with the edges of this case. So it kind of reminds me of, you know, how a diamond has the different, you know, angles and it really shimmers differently.
Mhm.
Having this ladder effect, the machining marks on the edges kind of does the same thing. So it's still very industrial yet elegant at the same time. So in other words, it's very Baltimore, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
crazy.
even with that change, I still think is the best looking
Mhm.
watch that you've designed. I think what makes this watch for me is the dial and the markers. The markers
Yeah.
really look fantastic with the
you.
high
Thank you. Thank you.
polish. And yeah, I think this is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I think the polishing on the bezel looks great. The brushing on the bezel looks great.
Mhm. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
you know, I think the Francis Scott Key on the crown is a great touch. So yeah, I think you knocked this thing out of the park.
Thank you. I
How
appreciate it.
how challenging was it to keep some of the rawness? I'm assuming you obviously, when you were designing this, you didn't want to like overly refine it, right? You want to keep
Mhm.
some of the raw aspects of the bridge. So
Yeah.
like maybe you could touch on how you kept it kind of, I mean, you talked about some of the case finishing here, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I'm sure that was
So
something that you thought about when you were designing it.
absolutely. I mean, I wanted to. It's a key bridge piece. It's steel, so people aren't buying this because of the design. They're buying it because of what it means and what it represents.
Yep.
And it's literally the piece of Baltimore. So I'm not putting any coating on the dials itself. It's just going to be steel colored. So the entire watch is very monotone in a way, and it really has the flexibility to, you know, you can put any type of strap on there and it look awesome just because how monotone it looks.
Yeah.
And they could dress it up, sport it out, casual, whatever, and it just works. But it's, you know, I wanted to keep
everyone,
the
this is
rawness
Alan.
of the steel. Hey, I wanted to keep the rawness of the key bridge as, you know, as close to the original steel as possible. So yeah, it's just something really amazing.
Now, again, these are on pre-order right now, correct? So you can go in and put in your order. When is delivery?
So delivery is fluid. So we were originally thinking, you know, April, then June, and now I think we're looking at August because we're doing everything in Maryland. One thing, it's never been done in Maryland. So whenever we do the CNC machining and all everything, we don't know when we need something customized until we're actually doing it. So a lot of the tools need custom tools to tool the watch. So the most recent slight delay was because of the tolerance levels were too high from one case to another case. So as we're seeing the cases, there was a 0.02 millimeter difference from one case to the other. So in the grand scheme of things, it's very very small. I mean, it's 2 microns of a difference. And once you talk about gaskets and O-rings and making sure there's a solid steel seal to make sure it's water resistant, that kind of plays a role in how the cases are measured. So in order to tighten that tolerance, we had to really hone in on the actual manufacturing process. We had to, understand the, if it's humid outside, the temperatures, the airflow, if it's night or day when we're doing it. There's variations that fluctuate the tolerance level. So we had to really hone in that process to make sure every single case is at least a point or at most a 0.01 millimeter difference, which is perfect. So it was a process.
So, Captain Kirk, where are your cases made? In this particular watch you've been talking about, you're making them right there in Maryland.
In Maryland, yeah. We're making the cases in Maryland. The dials are also being made in Maryland, and they are from Maryland. The movement, we'll be using our Maryland movement. It just makes sense. Everything is all assembled in Maryland, and yeah, and then all the profits go back to the family. So we're not actually profiting anything from this piece, just because I'm born and raised in Maryland. So the Francis Scott Key Bridge meant something to me, and it's an icon. It was, the backdrop of Baltimore. So it definitely is something very special, something very unique that's, never going to happen again. It's just, very much a unique piece.
Once you're done with all the cases and the coins, how much of the material are you expecting to have left over, and what will you do with it?
I'll probably have, I believe I'll probably have around 20 pounds still. And I'll probably just put it at our showroom at our office.
Frame it.
Display it. Yeah.
Display it somewhere, put it in a glass case with some lights beaming down on it.
So that project kind of opened the doors, although we're not making a profit on it, it kind of opened the doors for some unique projects in the future. The A-10 Warthogs, the fighter jets.
Yeah.
So they're retiring the fighter jets, and the unit that was flying them in Maryland is being disbanded all over the place. But they wanted something to commemorate, so they actually gave me a piece of the 30 millimeter gun barrel from the A-10 that we're going to be melting down to make watches for them.
Are you going to call it the Cobra Rattler watch? You should. That's what that plane
awesome.
is the A-10 Warthog. Do it in like blue and red.
I bet the companies you work with, your suppliers, are just like, oh shit, here comes Alan again with some crazy materials.
I mean, yes, 100%. I mean, and then there's another warship in Baltimore called the John Brown warship. They have some steel because they did some refurbishing on the ship itself that we might make some pieces out of it. University of Maryland, the Terps, we actually just signed a license agreement with them. We're getting some of their wood from the Cole Fieldhouse basketball court and making dials from the wood itself, which is really cool. I mean, we got some really unique things that are happening. It kind of opened the doors saying, oh, they were able to make watches from the Key Bridge. We have some whatever materials here. Let's do something special with that. So it kind of opened the door for some really unique manufacturing in Maryland. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. And the coolest thing is you're providing jobs. I think that's awesome. And you're bringing watchmaking back to America. Yeah, and there's not too many companies that are doing that. I know Jack Mason is trying to do that. You guys are trying to do that. You've got high end out in Los Angeles with Shapiro, who's doing that from scratch in his case, but only getting 15 watches out a year because they're so complicated.
They're also very expensive.
Yeah, and very, very expensive. Yeah, that's why I said high end.
High. You left out one high, so I was wondering.
Yeah, but
RGM
and RGM, RGM is definitely doing something awesome too.
And you've got the other brands like Laurier and those kind of brands as well, up in New York, working to do that. So I mean, I think this is great. I mean, this seems to be the way that we get watchmaking to return to America. There's been so many people of, well, what can we do? This is what we can do.
That's what we're trying. I mean, we have some, we've been going through some significant growth, and we're trying to really build onto that. And then, like, any small businesses, how do we keep the momentum alive? How do we keep the wheels turning faster and faster? And with us, by the end of the year, I think the goal is to have around 8 to 10 employees by the end of the year. We have 4 watchmakers and watch techs starting up later this month, which is pretty awesome. Right now, the current showroom is about 750 square feet, but we're actually moving to a 7,100 square foot space.
Wow.
To house watchmakers. So with our company, we will have 3 main pillars of the company, from the one side of servicing, repair, assembly, warranty work for any types of watches, not just our own, from higher end pieces to micro brands and so forth. And then there's the distribution side of things, where we'll actually be a distribution partner for a lot of international brands, so we can ship on their behalf for all their U.S. customers, just because of tariffs and so forth.
Sure.
And then there's our core, Tsao Baltimore Watch Company, timepieces. So having those 3 main pillars to support what we're trying to build and what we're trying to grow, this U.S. based company, this U.S. based watch company, I think it's going to be really just an incredible journey.
Yeah, I gotta thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know you've got kids to take care of and all of that stuff, and you've got a busy day tomorrow again, as usual.
As
Alan,
usual.
I really appreciate it. I hope you I was going to come see you last November when you guys were here for Intersect, and I got the flu that weekend. That was also my birthday weekend. So it's fantastic all the way around.
That's rough.
So I missed you guys at Intersect. I'm hoping you're coming back this year.
I think so.
Yeah, I believe it's still in
We'll see.
November, right around my birthday. So
yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll see you
Peter.
then.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Well, if the next time I talk to him, I'll say, make sure that Alan's there.
Yeah.
That does no good whatsoever, because Peter doesn't listen to a word I say.
He doesn't listen to anyone.
He's also been a guest on our Tuesday night show, and we were happy to have him as well.
Yeah,
Alan,
awesome.
I appreciate it. I hope you can come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope to see you in November. Have a wonderful night, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, brother.
For the opportunity. I appreciate it. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a good evening. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And that, my friends, was Alan Tsao, and we're so happy to have had him. We've got a couple of unboxings coming up. I haven't even checked to see how many likes we have, so let me check that real quick. We've got 25 likes. If maybe we could get just a few more. We've got, I know we've got an unveiling from Blake. Did you have an unboxing as well, Mitch?
You betcha.
Yeah, so we got one from Mitch. Jen, no, you don't have an unboxing. I don't either, but I'll have one next week.
I have watches and pieces over there, if that's worth anything.
Yeah, those aren't yours.
Mine's over there too. Don't worry.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You're tearing apart one of your G.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Cleaning it up.
So now you got 3 watches. One yours and 2 mine. Mine are almost done though. I can't wait to see them, to get them back. Oh man, that's going to be so cool. But yeah, it's okay. So Nerd says we've got 32 likes now. We were that was the last time I checked. We were still in the 20s. But Nerd, thank you so much. We're glad to have you in here. There you go. And Mr. Roberts, thank you so much. Great interview. We really appreciate that. And we certainly do appreciate Alan for coming on tonight. He really is one of the great guys in the micro brand business in the U.S. Please go check out the website. If you like anything, go grab it, because they're cool watches, decent prices, extremely well built. I mean, this watch is built like a tank. It is one of the heaviest watches I own, and it really is good. The bracelets are fantastic. So go check them out. Go check them out. So Blake, do we want to start with because yours is not really an unboxing, it's more of an unveiling. Let me get you into the position here so we can blow you up, so to speak.
So I'll give you some backstory. I went to a vintage watch show last year and I picked up the Le Jour, which essentially was made by Heuer. It was kind of like, the Heuer Pasadena, like Top Gun-esque chrono, Porsche design, chronograph 1, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
The Tonu case, like really rugged chrono. So I had that and I just wasn't wearing it. And one of my friends in my watch club has had a huge fascination with like those Tonu like vintage chronos. And my sister was in town last week, which is the reason why I wasn't on the stream, my family. And so she has this fascination for like high-end, like luxury, like designer bags, like, some ladies do. But anyways, so I took her to a pawn shop and then I saw this watch sitting in the case. And I reached out to my buddy because, he has that
pawn shop.
Yep, I know. Yep. I thought about this for him and I was like, hey man, like, cause he was sending me links online. He's like, dude, I would love to see one of these. And then anyways, I was trying to like work a deal out for him, like at the pawn shop. And then he just got back to me like the next day. And so did the pawn shop. He was like, look, like, I think I'm just happy with what I have. And so the guy at the pawn shop said it was complete, box papers, yada, yada, yada. And then he texted me back and said, like, we can't find anything for it. And then he's like, that, they dropped the price down to, I mean, this is, I think, one of the cheapest ones maybe ever sold. But it is a Sin chronograph.
So cool.
Very, very nice.
And it is from, I think it's the 517, if I'm not mistaken, like whatever the reference number. Super cool. I mean, it has the 24-hour dial up there. It's got the chronograph, the central set chronograph hand there. It's got the Lemania 5100 movement, which they discontinued in 2004, which also dates this watch right around then, the mid 2000s. And yeah, I've actually been wearing it quite a bit. And I posted it in the Sin Reddit, which ironically one of the guys in my watch club started and runs. And he's like, oh shit, I saw your Sin. Like, where'd you get that? And I was like, oh, I got it at a pawn shop. He's like, dude, how much you paid? I told him. He was just like, I mean, this was half of what market was. So I just felt super compelled to buy it. And I've been super happy. I've been super happy with it.
Good.
I owned that watch briefly like 25 years ago.
Oh yeah?
Nice watch. I like the fact that it had a Lemania movement.
Apparently this movement, like so I didn't know how cult like following this was. Like
cult.
And then so I started reading a huge article about the Lemania 5100 and how they discontinued it because it wasn't pretty enough for like the mid 2000s when people were starting to want exhibition case backs and this and that. And there's also plastic components inside the movement. And this was like the last real generation of like a watch that was just built for just destruction, So yeah, it's super cool. And I need to figure out the bracelet because it doesn't have any micro adjustment. And here in Vegas, like my shit swells so much. It
also has this central minutes indicator too.
Yeah. The central chronograph indicator, which you guys can see, looks like a little like airplane, like a little airplane or some shit. Yeah. So, and it's a thick boy, and she's got some wrist presence, and yeah. So that was my pickup. And I feel like I stole it. So like I don't know how long I'll keep it, and it's my first Sin, but we'll see.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's my first. Oh yeah. Okay.
Your first Sin watch, yes. But that's my first Sin.
my first sin watch.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
So not my first sin, but you get it.
Yeah, I like it. And I noticed that the date is still set on die.
It's so that's one thing that I guess annoys me, but I think is also kind of a cool novelty. It doesn't have an English date window. Like some of them,
German.
they have like the dual
Right.
languages.
Yeah.
This one's just all German. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't think there
Yeah.
is an English.
So we can tell the joke that I made to you when you first sent me a picture of that watch. I said, "Oh, I see the day there is your future when your wife finds out you bought another watch. You're gonna
Actually,
die."
She was there with me.
But she was with you. Yes.
Yeah, she was there with me because she was involved in the whole process. Which was kind of cool because I was like, sending it to my buddy Phil, and Phil's like, no, I'm gonna pass. And then, and then I went back home, and like I said, the pawn guy, the guy that works there, like texted me, and he's like, this is the price out the door. I mean, full disclosure, it was just around $950.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which, the cheapest one that I can find was in Japan for $1,500.
Yeah, it's a steal for that.
So yeah, it just felt right. And yeah, she was all on board with it. So yeah, hopefully I could figure out the clasp. I did talk to Sin already, and they want to sell me a bracelet for $600. So I don't think I'm gonna buy a bracelet for $600.
That would be no.
Yeah, but there is the company that I've been working with, Steel Reef. They actually have little little quick links for this.
Okay.
Because this one does have the diverse extension, but that's not of any use for me. That's too much micro for me. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with it.
Well, and maybe that company too. I don't know if they make a clasp, but you may be able to find some kind of a different kind of clasp that would help you out with that as well. I don't know.
No, it's something crazy too. I saw like Skylar or some other plastic in it. The plastic actually acts as an auxiliary protection system for the movement. This watch can take up to 7 Gs, which is crazy. And it won't stop. It won't stop ticking at 7 Gs.
Wow.
So please show me another watch that will do that. The movement is built like a tank, just like the watch is. So
you could throw it on a white rubber strap.
I actually tried it on a couple straps, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it off the bracelet.
Off the bracelet.
It felt weird. It felt weird because then it just became super top heavy.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
And then it didn't feel very good. So I don't know. We'll see what the future holds for me. Sure. But I'm
sure you can find another, either another clasp to put on there or another bracelet.
The quick link from the brand. Like I said, I'm in it at a point where I can't really lose. I don't think, so
I'd hold on to it. It's a good one.
Oh, my bad, Skylar. Somebody said something about the plastic. I thought it was Skylar. My bad. I'm wrong.
We haven't pushed it tonight, but we can, if you guys want to, have a race. So let me know. Throw in some super chats. We've got about another 20 minutes left. We have another unboxing to come. But if you guys want to have a race, let's throw in some super chats and get going for a race this evening as well. And it will be the usual super chats, member milestone chats. You can gift memberships, or you can join the channel. That also gets you into the WhatsApp group. And we would love to have you in the WhatsApp group if you're not there already. So there you go. Let's see how many folks we can get interested in a race. If it's not too many, then we'll skip the race tonight. If we can get a bunch of folks that want to get her done in the next 20 minutes or so, we will have a race at the end of the show. How's that?
Get her done.
Get her done. Yeah, Larry.
Yeah. So we've got our first super chat from Skylar, who wants to be in the race, and AB as well. Aspiring watch dork. No, you're already there, buddy. I can't pick the color horse. I'm sorry.
It's a blue pony.
Well, hopefully you'll get one because I have no way of picking that for you. It's all random. So, all right, I'll get my list started and we'll have us a race at the end of the evening. And let me get those two names in there. And then we will, Skylar does that if you're on an Apple device. It's always a penny less if you're watching on an iPhone or iPad in the YouTube app, and I don't know why that is either. It's weird. We've got $5 from Mr. Robbers, who says, I'm in. We will get you in there, Mr. Robbers. And we've got another unboxing from our Director of Bagel Security.
Your bagels are safe with me.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Why are they safe? Why are they safe, Director of Security?
Because I put locks on them.
There you go. Thank you so much. We didn't want people to think that we're the only ones who hear the jokes before the show. We bring the jokes to the show.
Whether they're going to make you nauseous or not.
So tell us what you got.
Well, this was a completely random chance encounter. It is
unlike the last 30 watches you bought.
Right. What I wasn't really looking for. But when I saw it advertised on a pre-owned watch site, and I knew that it had just come out.
Oh, wow.
Did Jen send you any links or have anything to do with it?
I had nothing to do with this.
Okay.
We do want to welcome Brian the Pipe. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
I'm here for Mitch's big unboxing.
It's not a gold Rolex. This isn't.
You would be here for Mitch's box, Brian.
Oh,
Uncle Mitch
is.
Oh,
two-door.
I thought it might be a Tudor.
As opposed to a 4-door, which is a new brand.
Did you get the light blue?
No.
Oh.
Those things are trading pretty high, I think, right now. I think they're
a little bit over.
Oh.
Ooh.
The Black Bay 68.
The biggin.
The biggie.
Nice.
Even Mark can't complain about this one. 43 millimeters of pure stainless steel.
Nice.
With a silver dial.
That's pretty awesome.
So, like I said, it's not a gold Rolex, but it's the first Tudor that I've had that's really big enough for me. I've got a chrono as well. That, is cool because it's, basically a ceramic carbon kind of thing.
Yeah, so, that's a great looking watch, man.
I think the dial pops. It looks good on my wrist, and my ridiculously deteriorating eyes can see it. Very important when you're so. But like I said, I mean, the dealers are having trouble getting these, so I don't know the story. And I gave up. I was asking actually some boutiques that I know about the Pelagos Ultra, which is even bigger.
Okay.
They haven't seen them yet either. As of a few weeks ago, things can change.
I can see where those would be a limited production, and the fact that, I mean, honestly, they're not as popular as the 58 or the 54. So I could see why they would make them in a smaller number.
Yeah. So this, we just indicate the.
While you're putting it on, we have a $5 super chat from Trap. Says, no lies told. I only have one watch in my cart. I'm not sure I believe that either. I don't know.
Lies.
I don't know.
In one cart out of your 30 carts.
This is a good size for me.
Yeah, it looks great.
Nice. Great piece. Both good watches. Good job.
And it has the
Go team.
improved bracelet without the faux rivets.
Nice. Oh, they're getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank goodness.
I'm shocked. Seriously, because that was like a differentiator between them and Rolex. I'm surprised Rolex let them do that.
Well, of course, Rolex let him use the 5-link "Don't call it Jubilee" either.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, don't say that.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I can't say Jubilee.
It's not a NATO. It's a fabric strap.
There you go, Jen. She knows me so well.
I may or may
Jepper?
not have 15 tabs open with carts on them as well myself. So I'm
Oh,
pointing the
God.
finger at me too.
The rate
Okay.
things are going, NATO may not be around much longer. But, and who owns the brand? At any rate, random incoherent quotes.
Okay, this is going to be tough. Skylar Santana, he dares me to do his super chat voice. I can't get as high as you do, Skylar, because I'm a man and I have a man's voice.
I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm 40.
That's
A
right.
manly man.
Oh, Skylar. Love you, man. Love you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, man, you need to watch one of Skylar's lives. It's correct me if I'm wrong. It's Friday afternoon. I know it's 2:30 my time, 3:30 Eastern. That's every week, right, Skylar? So put that in the chat and let me know if I'm right. You don't have to buy another super chat to do it. Just put it in and see tell me if I'm right. Oh, he says I did well on the super chat.
Thomas, I don't know whether it's a 20 millimeter lug width or not. I would have to check.
See, it made me cough doing that thing. He says I am correct. So Friday afternoons, 2:30 Central, 3:30 East, 1:30 Mountain, and 12:30 on the West Coast. So check out Skylar on his Friday afternoon. It's a good way to spend a Friday afternoon. Are you on this week, Skylar, since it's 4th of July, or are you taking Friday off?
Skylar, that's a 22 millimeter lug width, by the way.
Oh, on the Tudor?
Uh-huh.
Cool. Very, very
I
cool.
wondered if it was that because it's bigger.
Taking the week off. So not this Friday, since it's 4th of July, but next Friday he will be on. So join him on a Friday afternoon. It's normally every Friday afternoon. Obviously, we've got a holiday coming up this week. So yeah, check out Skylar's live stream. It's very fun, and he gets crazy. And since it's early in the afternoon, his wife lets him do it. Unlike this show.
I know, right?
I have to give you crap about that every week, Skylar. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Here we go. He loves me. I know. I love you too. You guys, thank you so much for being with us this evening. We're going to get ready for a race here momentarily. Oh, boy. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I hate you too.
I hate your guts.
We'll get the race going. You guys talk amongst yourselves while I get the race ready to go. We do need to come up with a couple of entries here at the end of folks who were doing a lot in chat this evening, or maybe ask some good questions of Alan. So while I'm getting everything loaded up here, you guys can think about that. So
Let's throw a wristful in there.
All right, hang on just a sec. Everybody there goes to there, goes to there. Share that tab instead. And so
maybe Oscar Nunez as well.
We've got Trap. Like I've said, best panel on YouTube. Sir, you didn't have to spend $2 just to tell us the truth, but I'm glad that you finally told us the truth this evening. Finally.
I know, right?
We've got Brian the Pipe. Put me in, Mr. Wood. The race, that is, please. Yes, Brian, I understand.
Okay.
By the way, what's on your wrist this evening, sir?
Well, according to the director of Bagel Security, I must be wearing just a bite because it's the Black Bay 58 GMT.
Hey, looky there.
I
Hey,
tell you,
let me get
What?
you full
Just a
screen
bite.
for that. There we go.
you can have
You
Look.
Nice.
It looks good on my normal evolved human wrists.
No bear paws.
Yeah.
All right. And we've got a $2 super chat from Thomas Burnett. Again, up way too late or way too early. Thank you for super chatting us all the way from across the pond. Let's race. We will. I will get your name in there as well. Burnett. See, I can't even type this evening. It's terrible. And you had mentioned Wristful. And who was the other person you had mentioned?
Oscar
Somebody had
Nunez.
mentioned Oscar. That's right.
The Tudor Munchkin. It's like the Dunkin' Donuts
yeah.
version of Rolex.
What do you people think of the Tudor that came out with the sort of turquoise dial and the silver bezel, the shiny?
I was so mid on it. That's what I figured. I thought when you pulled out the Tudor box, that's what I thought you bought. But
I like that watch actually, but because it's different. Maybe I'm just
kind of over it.
I'm a fan, but I would have to PPF the bezel so it wouldn't scratch because that would drive me crazy.
All right. Are we ready to do this thing?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's.
Hang on. Let me get around to the back of my horse and juice it up.
Yes, please do.
Crank it up.
Give it some
Well,
performance enhancing
Mhm.
Something.
supplements.
All right, here we go. Everybody, of course, even at the start, Oscar Nunez making a slight move along with AB and Wristful Ignorance. We've got Oscar Nunez and Wristful Ignorance in the lead right now. Kind of Oscar by a nose, maybe. Skylar in third place along with AB. And we'll see who's going to come out of the back and win the whole thing, because that's usually what happens. Oscar Nunez, but here comes Trap. Here comes Trap from the back. And here comes Mr. Robbers. And here comes Thomas Burnett. But look at this. Skylar Santana. Nope. It's going to be Mr. Robbers. Very nice. Congratulations, Mr. Robbers. We do appreciate everyone joining us this evening. And we will be back with you again next Tuesday. Have a great 4th of July. Happy Canada Day for our folks up north. That was today.
That's Canada.
Canada.
It's Canada because they're Canadians.
Our 51st state, Canada.
We promise we're still friends with Canada.
Yes. Those on this channel are still friends with Canada. We love Canada. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back next week. Until then, wear your watches.
Can't beat my meat. Awesome homemade Greek style food. Come and get it. Our awesome Mille. Come and get it. Our big breakfast. Come and get it. Our Wednesday special charcoal pork shifty and souvlaki. Come and get it. Our Thursday special cabbage rosé. Come and get it. And our biggest seller, souvlaki. Tuesday, Friday. Come and get it. And don't forget, in 2024, come and get it and you won't regret it.